I'm Jane. Today we'll talk about old horses, PPID, and wedge pads. Dale is a 24-year-old family horse used for trail and 4-H, and we've known him for about 14 years now. So today we found him in the pasture not wanting to bear weight on his right front. He is due to have his shoes changed, and also the ground has gone between freezing and being muddy, and when it's frozen like it was last night, it's super uneven. We're thinking maybe he tweaked something or he's got an abscess brewing. There is also an appointment made with the vet so we can make sure that we are doing right by Dale. Scott's going to clean up his foot really well, look on the outside, on the underneath, on the inside, and see if we can't find a blemish or an injury, or perhaps something like a nail or screw, which we have seen in the past. He'll check the coronary band really well. Dale has a lot of hair and it could be hiding an abscess that's trying to blow out. You want to explain what that pad is?
That is a snow rim pad. It's a tube here and here. When they step down, it compresses, and when they lift their foot up, it expands. So when there's snow and slush and stuff like that, it pops it out, and it prevents ice balls from getting packed in their feet. If it would ever snow for real. I figure as long as we have these on, it won't snow all winter.
Dale has PPID, another name is Cushing's. It's an endocrine disorder, especially in older horses. In Dale's case, the hoof runs forward, so his heel will drop and his toe will get real long. His sole is thin. If he doesn't have shoes on, he tends to get abscesses. In the beginning, he was an easy keeper, so you had to be very careful about his diet. Otherwise, he would very easily get fat. He would have fat deposits over his tail head, around his withers, and get a crusty neck. When things took a turn, Dale lost 100 pounds, had watery diarrhea, and was just very, very anxious. That prompted the vet to do an ACTH test. He came back positive, and now he's on Presend.
He's never had real strong, healthy feet. Always been a little bit lacking in the sole area, and the toe always wants to run forward a little bit. He doesn't have a good, strong connection on the front half of his foot with his lamina and his hoof wall. It just never delivers the goods ideally, you know. Always just a little bit compromised, and he's always been managed easy enough just with shoeing. But if you take his shoes off, he's very unhappy without them. Right now I'm looking to see if he reacts in any one area of his foot that would be consistent with an abscess. And so far I don't know if he even knows I'm here. No reaction. None. If there's nothing in the foot, then we have to assume that his lameness is caused somewhere above the foot. Maybe he did tweak something out there. Easy, buddy. Has a little bruising here in his seat of corn area, so I'm gonna spoon the heels out on his shoes before we put them back.
spoon the heels up?
Yeah, I'm going to work the foot surface with the round side of my rounding hammer to put a little dish in it so it doesn't have contact with this part of his foot.
Okay.
The hoof wall will sit on the shoe, but this won't touch it. Look at him rubbing his nose. Let's go. What are you doing? Hi, buddy.
By looking at his teeth, you would never know his age. And everybody who's ever floated his teeth have said the same thing. His teeth are in great shape. All right, so his foot is run forward. Let me get a good picture of it. Right?
Well, not so much now. It's gathered up, but it does appear that he's broken back a little bit and his heels are kind of low. So I'm going to check his hoof pattern here with this. On a good day, he'll rest at 50 degrees. I like to set him up between 50 and 52.
Looked like he had a dish in the front. Does that make it more difficult?
Yeah, I'm not going to get an accurate read here because of that. But he's probably pretty close to 50 degrees.
What's the benefit then of putting a wedge or not putting a wedge? Or
well, if your horse appears to be very uncomfortable because they're a little bit low in the heels, then you can put a wedge on there to provide artificial support and hopefully make them feel more comfortable. Every degree you raise the heel, you reduce pressure against the deep digital flexor tendon, which comes down the back of the leg, goes under the bottom of the foot, and attaches to the bottom of the coffin bone. For every degree you raise it, it decreases force against that by 4%. So a simple little 3-degree wedge pad can reduce pressure on there by 12%. So it can be an immediate form of release. So the tricky thing about wedges is just like medicine that you see advertised on TV with 15 different really horrible potential side effects. The internal structures of his foot aren't real excited about keeping it upright. And if you put a wedge on there, you'll artificially raise the angle, but you're actually putting more pressure on the bottom of the heel, and it's like a crushing effect 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you have to really carefully balance the pros and cons of raising that if it's going to be more helpful than any potential negative side effects. And in the short term, for a few shooting cycles, you're usually pretty good, but you know, if you can avoid it, you certainly don't want to have a foot in a wedge pad for the rest of the horse's life. There might be a case that they have to have that. It's all case by case, but as soon as you put a wedge in there, it effectively puts more pressure on the heels because it's on a wedge now. Does that make sense to you? So it changes the angle, but at the same time, it reduces tension on the deep digital flexor tendon. It puts more pressure on the heels themselves. So you have to balance that out. So we evaluate every shooting cycle, every 6 weeks, see how the horses respond. And by that, I mean, how are they moving? Do they look comfortable when they're at rest? Things like that. But I know he's below 50. So I'm going to incorporate a nice full leather wedge pad with his snow pad. So now we're going to come over here. And if you look at this shoe, this is the foot surface. This area is where the seed of corn would usually be in contact or close to it. So we're going to round that out like a spoon. Both sides. I don't know if you can see that.
And that kind of shoe is what?
This is St. Croix Venner.
And it's got, what's the characteristics of that?
Well, it's rolled all the way around, so it helps the horse to roll his foot over wherever he chooses with minimal interference. It's fullered all the way around, so that helps with traction. And the heels are left plain, so if you want to put studs in the heels or drill tech or borium, you have a nice flat surface here. In this case, this is where the rivets will go through to secure the pad that goes on the shoe.
And what does hot fitting do?
Well, in simple terms, it makes a good fit better. You want to have the shoe and the foot match each other perfectly, like two pieces of glass, flat, flat, flat. If it's not real flat, then over the course of the shoeing cycle, it might form a little wiggle or a wobble and can cause a shoe to come off prematurely. Another thing it does, it's a nice preventive measure if there are any microorganisms in the horse's foot, such that cause white line disease, for example. The hot shoe incinerates and kills that on contact. So makes a good fit better, and it's a nice preventive measure for antimicrobial bad guys that might be in there.
So what are you looking for now?
I'm just checking my fit. Make sure I have a nice perimeter fit, which I do. I want to leave some room for expansion. So if you look down this shoe, come back here,
Okay.
shoot down this angle here. You'll see where the wall is versus the shoe. Can you see it here?
Yeah, I hope so.
And on the other side.
Yeah, I got it. Pretty interesting.
Get my pad cutter.
That's stiff.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah, I mean, that's not something like flimsy. It's pretty,
No, they're very durable. They can be
I can't
reset
push that with my finger.
many times.
but I'm not a 1,000-pound horse either.
These are thicker in the back than they are in the front. That's probably about a 2-degree wedge. It's not a lot, but every little bit helps him. You know, if he tweaks something in the back of his leg on that hard frozen ground, this will help that feel better. Tells you what it is and what the ingredients are. Put your leather pad on that.
Snow pad first, leather second. There you go.
See?
Yep.
Normally I'll nip those points off. I'm just gonna rivet them right over.
And you roll his toe, right?
Yeah, oh, it's a rocker. Yeah,
Or a rocker.
rocket.
Dale does tend to move around quite a bit when we're working on him, and we try to accommodate his discomfort with rubber mats to stand on, not getting angry with him. He can't help it. He has arthritis. He's an old guy, so we just accommodate as best we can. Normally, he stands ground tied. He's just that good. Put one more in and then we'll give him a break. Good boy, Dalio. Good boy, buddy. This poor guy. He's got a lot going on.
Look at his lips.
Is he? Good. Maybe he likes it.
That's what I was looking for.
I'm just trying to be helpful, Scott. Pick up his other one? No, you got it. Okay. Hello. Why don't you follow the exact edge?
Well, even with the shoe on, the back of the foot expands when they land. There's expansion, and then it contracts back to normal. And you want to leave room. If the shoe was tight right up against the wall back there in the heels, then it would be coming out over the edge of the shoe. And when I bring his foot forward, I'll actually blend a little bevel in between the pad and his hoof as well. That's pretty darn perfect right there, though, the way it is.
So we may not be able to do him all around today. He's not wanting to stand on his sore foot, so I mean, he's going to tell us what we're allowed to do today.
even though they're not even right now, for a few days, it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
He's certainly not on even ground. I'm going to give him some time, and when I notice that he's not limping anymore, then we'll come back and we'll do his other foot.
Okay.
It would not be much of a kindness if I insisted that he.
Yeah, because he's not being difficult.
No,
he's
and
he's not comfortable.
He really tries. Even as long as I held it up right now, I know that was uncomfortable for him.
Yeah.
But he wanted it back for sure. And
Well, most of the time you don't even have to time. He'll ground
I mean, he
tie.
would probably do it if I asked him and I really held that a lot, but I'm not going to
Such a
put him
good
through that
boy.
because it's not an emergency right now, and I don't want to cause him
Right.
more discomfort than I have to.
Because you're the best boy in the whole wide world, right
That's a
there.
good example of listening to your horse and understanding that he's not being bad, he's just not comfortable. So I would be a real jerk if I ignored that and screamed at him and yelled at him if he wiggled or moved or tried to pull that foot. He is in pain.
Yeah.
And it's my job to recognize that.
Damn.
I love how he goes looking at his nose. Let's get you out of here.
All right. Go back in with Bugs. If you have any questions for Scott, comment below and we'll see if we can't get an answer for you. Thanks for watching. Find your herd.